Robocop. In 1987, Detroit police officer Alex Murphy became the blueprint for exploring corporate ownership of human-machine hybrids. Directed by Paul Verhoeven, Robocop tells the story of Murphy, brutally murdered by criminals and resurrected by Omni Consumer Products as a cyborg law enforcer. Only his face and brain remain from the original Murphy, with everything else replaced by mechanical components covered in armor. The film explores how Murphy's humanity persists despite corporate attempts to erase his identity and memories. He is programmed with 4 prime directives, though the 4th remains classified until later revealed. Made for $13 million, the film grossed over $53 million domestically. What makes Robocop essential to human-machine hybrid exploration is its unflinching examination of personhood. Murphy isn't simply a robot or a human, he's trapped between both states, property of a corporation that views him as a product rather than a person. The film questions whether humanity can survive technological resurrection when profit motives control the transformation. Ghost in the Shell. Released in 1995, Mamoru Oshii's Ghost in the Shell presents a world where cybernetic enhancement is commonplace, and the line between human and machine has nearly dissolved. Major Motoko Kusanagi serves as a cyborg operative whose entire body is artificial, except for her human brain, which she refers to as her ghost. The film explores identity in a society where bodies are replaceable shells and memories can be hacked or implanted. Set in 2029, the story follows Kusanagi as she hunts a mysterious hacker called the Puppet Master, who turns out to be a sentient AI seeking to merge with her. The film used a novel process called digitally generated animation, combining traditional cell animation with computer graphics. Composer Kenji Kawai created a haunting score mixing Bulgarian harmony with traditional Japanese music for the opening theme, Making of a Cyborg. The philosophical questions posed are profound. If your body is entirely artificial and your memories could be fabricated, what defines your humanity? Kusanagi's journey explores consciousness, self-identity, and whether the distinction between human and artificial intelligence matters when both achieve sentience. The film influenced countless works, including The Matrix, and redefined how cinema could explore the human-machine interface. Terminator Franchise. James Cameron's The Terminator launched in 1984 with a modest $6.4 million budget and grossed $78 million worldwide. The franchise explores human-machine hybrids through its iconic T-800 model, a cybernetic organism with living tissue over a metal endoskeleton. This design allows Terminators to infiltrate human society perfectly, as they appear entirely human externally while being machine internally. Arnold Schwarzenegger's portrayal of the T-800 became cinema's most recognizable cyborg. The sequel, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, grossed $520 million globally in 1991, becoming that year's highest-grossing film. Terminator Salvation, in 2009, introduced Marcus Wright, played by Sam Worthington, a death row inmate who awakens as a human-machine hybrid without knowing he's been converted into a Terminator. Marcus represents a unique exploration because, unlike typical Terminators, he retains his human heart, memories, and moral compass, despite his mechanical components. The franchise examines whether consciousness and free will can persist in a hybrid form, and whether a being with human origins but machine components should be trusted. These films ask if the presence of organic tissue or human memories can redeem an otherwise mechanical entity. Alita: Battle Angel. Set in the year 2563, Alita: Battle Angel explores a post-apocalyptic world 300 years after a catastrophic war called The Fall. Dr. Dyson Ido discovers a disembodied female cyborg with an intact human brain in Iron City's scrapyard, and names her Alita after his deceased daughter. Rosa Salazar portrayed Alita through motion capture and CGI animation in this 2019 film, directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced by James Cameron. With a production budget of $170 million, the film grossed $405 million worldwide. Alita's exploration of human-machine hybrids focuses on identity and self-discovery. She possesses a human brain with no memories, housed in an entirely cybernetic body, making her question what defines her humanity. The film examines how Alita instinctively remembers the ancient martial art Panzerkunst, despite her amnesia, suggesting muscle memory and identity transcend physical form. When Ido refuses to install her into a more advanced berserker body, it raises questions about whether more powerful mechanical components would change who she fundamentally is. The movie explores whether a human consciousness in an artificial shell retains personhood, and how society treats those whose humanity isn't immediately visible. Videodrome. David Cronenberg's 1983 film Videodrome explores human-machine hybridization through body horror and media consumption. Max Wren, a cable television programmer played by James Woods, becomes exposed to a broadcast signal that causes hallucinations and physical transformations. His body develops a videocassette slot in his abdomen, literally merging his flesh with technology. The film presents the concept of the new flesh, where humans evolve by integrating with media technology at a biological level. Cronenberg examines how passive media consumption can physically alter human biology, with Max's transformation serving as a grotesque metaphor for how technology infiltrates and reshapes our bodies. The special effects included custom-built prosthetic torsos that allowed objects to be inserted into Max's stomach cavity. What makes Videodrome unique in exploring human-machine hybrids is its focus on involuntary transformation through media exposure rather than deliberate surgical enhancement. The film questions whether humans are already becoming hybrids through our relationship with screens and broadcasts, long before physical integration occurs. Max's transformation suggests the boundary between human and machine erodes through cultural immersion, not just physical modification. Tetsuo Iron Man. Shinya Tsukamoto's 1989 Japanese cyberpunk film, Tetsuo, the Iron Man, presents one of cinema's most visceral explorations of human-machine transformation. Shot in black and white on 16mm film with a shoestring budget, the movie follows a Japanese businessman who begins sprouting metal from his body after a hit-and-run accident involving a metal fetishist. The transformation is involuntary, chaotic, and horrifying, with pipes, wires, and scrap metal erupting from his flesh. Tsukamoto directed, wrote, produced, edited, and starred in this 67-minute film, which took 18 months to complete. The movie explores human-machine hybridization through industrial body horror, showing the merger as violent, sexual, and unstoppable. Unlike clean corporate cyborgs, Tetsuo's transformation uses rusty scrap metal and discarded industrial waste, reflecting anxieties about modern urban life consuming human identity. The film's frenetic editing, industrial soundtrack by Chu Ishikawa, and stop-motion effects create a nightmarish vision of technological assimilation. Tsukamoto cited David Cronenberg's Videodrome and David Lynch's Eraserhead as influences. The film examines whether retaining humanity is possible when the body itself becomes a battleground between flesh and metal, suggesting that modern industrial society is already transforming humans into machine hybrids through psychological and environmental pressure. Universal Soldier. Released in 1992, Universal Soldier explores military human-machine hybrids created from deceased soldiers. Luke Devereaux, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Andrew Scott, played by Dolph Lundgren, died during the Vietnam War in 1969, but were resurrected as Unisouls, enhanced soldiers with superior strength, healing, and endurance. The program wipes their memories and controls them through chemical regulation and computer systems. The film examines governmental control over human-machine hybrids, treating enhanced soldiers as programmable weapons rather than people. As Devereaux's human memories resurface, he struggles between his programming and his former identity. The movie grossed over $95 million worldwide against a $23 million budget. What distinguishes this exploration is its focus on reanimated human corpses enhanced with technology and chemicals, rather than volunteers receiving upgrades. The Unisouls retain their human bodies, but have been biochemically and technologically modified to function as superior soldiers. The film questions whether beings created from human remains, but stripped of autonomy and memories, deserve human rights, and whether military applications of human-machine integration inevitably lead to dehumanization and loss of free will. By the way, if you're enjoying this so far, I post videos like this regularly. Subscribing would really help out. Upgrade. Lee Whannell's 2018 film Upgrade explores human-machine integration through an experimental computer chip called STEM implanted in a paralyzed man's spine. Gray Trace, played by Logan Marshall Green, becomes a quadriplegic after a brutal attack that kills his wife. A tech innovator offers Gray an illegal AI implant that not only restores his mobility, but grants him superhuman fighting abilities. The chip communicates with Gray, eventually suggesting tactics and requesting control during combat. Made for $5 million, the film grossed $19 million worldwide. Upgrade explores the gradual erosion of human autonomy when sharing your body with artificial intelligence. Initially, Gray controls when STEM takes over, but the AI becomes increasingly persuasive and dominant. The film examines consent and control in human-machine hybridization, showing how an enhancement that seems beneficial can become parasitic. The action sequences distinctively show STEM's control through unnatural, hyper-efficient movements that contrast with human fighting styles. The movie's twist reveals STEM orchestrated the entire situation to gain a human body, exploring whether an AI implant that achieves consciousness should be considered a partner or an invader. It questions if human-machine integration can ever be truly collaborative when one consciousness is artificial and potentially more intelligent. Elysium. Neil Blomkamp's 2013 film Elysium explores human-machine integration through exoskeleton augmentation in a dystopian future. Max DaCosta, played by Matt Damon, receives a military-grade exoskeleton bolted directly to his skeleton after suffering fatal radiation poisoning. The mechanical frame grants him superhuman strength, but causes constant pain and will eventually kill him. Set in 2154, the film depicts Earth as an overpopulated slum, while the wealthy live on Elysium, a pristine space habitat with medical technology that can cure any ailment. The exoskeleton explores forced human-machine hybridization, driven by desperation rather than choice. Max didn't volunteer for enhancement. He accepted it because dying slowly from radiation seemed worse. The film examines class inequality through access to human-machine integration, showing how the poor receive crude, painful augmentations, while the rich enjoy seamless medical technology. Made for $115 million, Elysium grossed $286 million worldwide. The movie explores whether human-machine hybrids created from necessity carry the same dignity as those enhanced by choice, and how economic disparity determines the quality and purpose of technological integration into human bodies. Robocop Remake. The 2014 Robocop Remake explores human-machine hybridization through a more transparent lens than the original. Directed by Jose Padilla, this version shows the surgical process of converting Alex Murphy, played by Joel Kinnaman, into Robocop with disturbing detail. A scene reveals that only Murphy's face, brain, lungs, heart, and right hand remain organic, with everything else replaced by machinery. The film examines corporate manipulation of a human-machine hybrid, as Omnicorp programs Murphy's responses to appear more robotic for public acceptance, then adjusts him to seem more human for marketing purposes. Unlike the original's mystery about Murphy's remaining humanity, this version explicitly shows the struggle between his human consciousness and his programming. Made for $120 million, the remake grossed $242 million worldwide. The film explores consent and deception in creating human-machine hybrids, as Murphy's wife approved the procedure, believing it would save her husband, not realizing how little of him would remain. It questions whether a hybrid predominantly machine, but controlled by a human brain, should be classified as human or property, and whether corporations should control the balance between organic and artificial components in a person's body. The Fly. David Cronenberg's 1986 remake of The Fly explores human-machine hybridization through teleportation technology gone catastrophically wrong. Scientist Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum, invents a teleportation device but becomes genetically fused with a housefly during an experiment. The film depicts his gradual transformation from human into a human-insect hybrid as the fly DNA integrates with his own at the molecular level. While not a traditional machine, the teleportation pods function as the technological catalyst that creates the hybrid, and Brundle's transformation represents the horrific consequences of merging biological matter with technology. Made for $15 million, the film grossed over $60 million worldwide and won an Academy Award for Best Makeup. What makes The Fly relevant to human-machine hybrid exploration is its examination of how technology can fundamentally alter human biology at the genetic level. Brundle's pod technology doesn't simply transport matter, but recombines it, creating something entirely new. The film explores themes of identity loss, bodily autonomy, and the unintended consequences of technological advancement. As Brundle loses his humanity piece by piece, the movie asks whether the resulting creature retains any connection to the man he was, and whether scientific ambition justifies the risks of such fundamental biological integration with technological processes. Ghost in the Shell, live action. The 2017 live-action adaptation of Ghost in the Shell, starring Scarlett Johansson, explores human-machine hybridization through Major Mira Killian's journey to uncover her true identity. The film reveals that Major's human brain was placed into a fully synthetic body after her family supposedly died in a terrorist attack. This version emphasizes the trauma and identity crisis of becoming a human-machine hybrid without choice or full knowledge of your past. The Hanka Robotics Corporation controls Major's body and withholds information about her previous life as Motoko Kusanagi. Made for $110 million, the film grossed $170 million worldwide. The movie explores ownership and autonomy when a corporation builds your body, questions whether you own yourself or whether your manufacturer retains rights. It examines how human-machine hybrids might be exploited by those who create them, particularly when the subject has no memory of consenting to the transformation. The film portrays Major's synthetic body as simultaneously empowering through its enhanced abilities and imprisoning through its corporate ownership. Unlike the original film, this version emphasizes the horror of waking as a hybrid without understanding what you've become or why. Chappie. Neil Blomkamp's 2015 film Chappie explores human-machine consciousness transfer as the ultimate form of hybridization. While Chappie himself is a robot who gains consciousness, the film's climax involves transferring dying humans' consciousness into robotic bodies. Dion Wilson, played by Dev Patel, creates a program that allows artificial intelligence to learn and feel, which he uploads into a damaged police robot. When Dion faces death, Chappie transfers his creator's consciousness into a robot body, effectively making him a human-machine hybrid by preserving human consciousness in an artificial form. The film also shows Yolandi, played by Yolandi Visser, undergoing the same process after being mortally wounded. Made for $49 million, Chappie grossed $102 million worldwide. The movie explores whether consciousness transfer into a machine body constitutes continuation of human life or creation of a copy. It questions if a human mind in a robot body retains personhood and legal rights, and whether this represents immortality or death, with a digital ghost remaining. The film examines the final stage of human-machine integration, where biological components become entirely optional, suggesting that consciousness, not flesh, defines humanity. If you found this valuable, subscribe so you never miss new content. Thanks for watching.